Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by singer-songwriter and amateur powerlifter Yolanda Nollie. Yolanda is an exceptional woman who has been through lots of challenges in her life, and she is a unique individual that has excelled in different fields. She is very educated, very smart, as you will hear during this interview. So we're going to be talking to her about her story and everything that she's up to. Yolanda, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Mr. Curtis, and it's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, we're glad to have you. Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started out with one of my companies, radio and TV, Net Science, which was it was sort of like a traveling talent search that had the prizes were lifelong mentorship, and those who were singer-songwriters would be on a CD that would be marketable to the public. And throughout the process of the show, we realized that it's those intimate stories that really bring people into closer to who they are as not just talent, but they have their own individual stories, and then and kind of that's how it kind of all started. But I do have other companies as well.
Tell everybody how you got into all of the things that you're up to. And you're also a very educated person. So kind of tell us about your degrees as well.
Well, I started off, attending American Intercontinental University in Atlanta, Georgia, down near downtown Peachtree Street. I was always into the creative field and creativity, and it just happened upon that day that I was ready to go off to college, and said that's the school I wanted to start out with. So in order to do that, they had study abroad programs, and I just kind of walked in and sat down with the missions and said, hey, this is where I want to attend school. And they told me the preliminaries of what to do and how to get started. So I like most students, I wrote a 15-page essay to the school, because that was the requirement. You had to write a 15-page essay, even though it's an art school. It was an arts and fine art school. And then at that point, show them some of your works. And I had been an artist the whole time out, ever since I was 10. My grandfather kind of fostered that within me. Every time my birthday came around, he had some sketch pads and some sketch pencils, and I just kept a diary. And then from a diary, I just started to do architectural drawings, and I was always encouraged to just pursue arts, pursue arts and so forth. So I started out in majoring fashion marketing and design. And I remember one of the instructors for textiling was, looked at my drawings, and she said, you know what, I was looking at my grades after getting ready to graduate, and I asked her why did she give me a B, and why not an A? Because she said she was amazed by my portfolio of work, and she said, because I felt that you could do better. I felt that you could be more than better. And this is from a lady who went to Parsons in New York City, which is one of a very well-known school for the arts as well. Isaac Mizrahi attended that school. If anybody kind of remembers who he was, he was very well known in the 80s, for his work in the fashion industry. And she was one of his proteges, and much more. She could make fur look like, fur, and, a fur coat looked like a fur coat, and Chanel looked like Chanel, and so forth. And we kind of looked up to her because she really taught us what fashion design really meant and what it should look like. And I finally graduated with my BA degree, a Bachelor's of Arts degree there, and then I kind of went off to the other side, and I went to the military for a little while, for about 6 to 7 years. But then I fell ill, and I got out fell ill. But before I fell ill, I did achieve some awards through the Navy, which I was very commendable. But I never went through wartime, and I always felt, until to this day, I respect veterans who went through war. My father went through war. He went through the Gulf War, and so forth. And it does change your perspective in a sense about human life and so forth. So, I just kind of, and then I went on to study from the arts. I went to the medical field, and then I studied, from the medical field, I studied medical billing coding and office management and medical office management. And then from there, I got my degree. I got my bachelor's degree in human resources, because it was by the instructors to do just that. But then from there, I kind of just pursued, after the military, I just kind of pursued, the arts and business, for a while. After I attained, a lump sum from the military, I just pursued that. And, I did work, though. I did, I believe in sweat equity. I always tell, even in my book, How to Profit in Entertainment Through Social Media Guide, I always, encourage, people that, it's okay if you are doing sweat equity and you're working 3 and 4 jobs, or you're working this one main job and you're working on how to budget management, financial management. You're taking tax courses that are most likely they're free at some point, especially if you want to work for that tax company, and to get more experience and understanding the tax field. And I also, did attend, college for paralegal studies. I didn't go to become a lawyer, because that was too many years. So I did attain an associate's degree for paralegal studies. I just wanted to learn, the basis of law and understanding contracts, because that's a huge key component, especially when dealing in business. And then so now today I have I've achieved over 6 companies. One is a nonprofit, to really cultivate those who are pursuing their dream in the arts and culture, and to give them the ability to work with mentors that are in that industry, and also get financial funding. And the arts includes podcasting. So podcasting is an art. I feel it's an art, because there's a lot to go in due process to doing just that, to podcasting, and having creative freedom. So, and then from there, I do have a travel agency. I just opened up maybe 5 months ago, and everyone that works with the travel agency, Platinum Entertainment Getaways, they have the ability to go on free excursions, free travel. We have a travel VIP club. People can go and travel, and just this adventure. We actually connected. We developed this company so that it can coincide with our podcast show. So therefore, if they wanted to come, if they were not in the area of Florida, we can actually book their flights and rental car through our company. So through our travel agency, which is hosted by by one of our vending hosts, travel, the Archer Travel and Evolution Travel. So with other vendors that we have, like Carnival and American Flight and so forth. So it's just a measure of, we live in the Gen Z era, and that I always feel that if you have, everyone talks, is utilizing that terminology, side hustling and so forth. But we, with my team, I work with a team that understands the arts and culture, and that understands, the value of having a company, and working towards making sure it's stable. I just, I'm also I am also a entertainment and media business strategist. Like some of my clients were Tamika Joy, and her organization Stars Performance Arts, and another one that I'm working with right now. She lives in the UK, and she wants to start a Christian movie theater, which is it's amazing. I said that, and I explained that I didn't want to discourage her. I want to encourage her, but I have a passion for those who are looking to start their own businesses, and they have a beautiful vision, especially, African Americans, especially, to protect their business, make sure, you check all the boxes, you get your EIN, you get your, you get your name copyrighted and trademarked and so forth, and the permits, and check to see, cover any permits that you may need. And I told her that, I explained to her that if you're looking for a movie theater, you need land. Or at least property that you can rent out, and you have the ability to excavate, and make over, the property per the estate and so forth. So, because as in the words of Tyler Perry, he said it himself, he protected himself by making sure he was not the tenant, he was the landlord, as he would say, and really being certified, and, making sure that he checked all the boxes, and, myself, as a singer-songwriter, I've, I always was I grew up in that era, where music really had a lot of meaning to it, throughout the 70s, into the early, the early 80s and 90s. And so, before we got to this era, and, music really had a lot of meaning to it. It meant something. And so a lot of my music reflects blues and jazz and that beautiful atmosphere. So if you're just lounging, you can just relax in your mind, because music has a way to really cultivate, your mood, what you're thinking. It can take you back to pleasant memories. It can, it can be a form of therapy at some point. And, that was my, where my music influence comes from, as a singer-songwriter. And I do have a few, singles out called A Moment into Time, not to be confused with wonderful, beautiful Whitney Houston song, One Moment in Time, which is a beautiful song. And but it's a moment into time, and it's got a nice atmospheric sound. It's kind of like if you're cruising down, the Florida highway or the LA highway, or whatever highway, you can turn it on, and you can just, it's just a beautiful, relaxing, swaying mood, to listen to. And when it comes to my other songs that I have out, is it's The Silence, which I actually is actually a remix to So Unreal. And fortunate enough, it actually is doing a lot better than So Unreal, which was remixed and produced by Incidents. And it's gained a lot of traction. They like the upbeat, funky sound to it. They like the, the mood that it sets to it, and it's got a nice rhythm, with the, drums and, and it just gives it a, plus the lyrics coming from not only myself, but also, the producer, Mr. Lane, he kind of he kind of plants his, his own little, rhythm to it. He's worked with a lot of people like, he's worked with a lot of people like, Clint, Bill Clinton, the, the Funkadelics. He's worked with them. He's worked with the Shy Lights. He's worked with a lot of people, and I was very honored to have him to do the remakes. And then I was going to get Craig Lane, from the actual Funkadelics back in that day to write the music. And he's just a pioneer of music. He's worked with Salt and Pepper, he's worked with and many others. And if you listen to his sound, he can make anything a hit, literally. And fortunately, we never got to finish the remake of A Moment Into Time. But there's always opportunity. It's never too late to do just that. And then A Ticket to Heaven is kind of like a rendition of Stairway to Heaven, but we with the politeness of not taking away the actual music. We kind of just did a sort of like a remix sound with just maybe two words that were borrowed. Two lyrics, two words borrowed from one of the lyrics of Stairway to Heaven, but we added just a whole nother kind of incident. Mr. Lane, he added his own little remix to it, and with the 2-word lyrics, and that's also getting a lot of traction, especially over in Asia. For some reason, they like everything kind of different. Asia and France. So, so that's a little bit about myself. So, Mr. Curtis, you have questions?
Yeah, you're also an amateur powerlifter. So to tell us about that and how you got into that.
Oh, well, with powerlifting, it sort of just started basically with my health. I started actually powerlifting in my 40s. I was always into weightlifting. I was always into sports, but powerlifting is something that I really highly respected alongside CrossFit. But I felt CrossFit was a little too much for me at that point. And it's even more, it's a lot more stricter. Powerlifting is just, you're competing with yourself. It's, can you lift the weight, the regulated weight that they want you to lift? And, it requires the 4 basic movements, the 4 basics, the bench press, the squat, the deadlift, and, the bar, the bicep raise. And it's not what people think. It's actually a very complicated lift because you're lifting one very, very, very heavy bar, hand weight up, and it's got these 2 heavy kind of like kettlebells on each side, and it's not as easy as it may sound. And then there's other complex movements too, where you're lifting a stone, and then and then there's another one where they do the farmer's walk. It looks easy, but it's not. It really, and at first I had the misconception before working with a trainer. I worked with 2 different trainers. They had 2 different styles. The one trainer, he just focused on me, just kind of carving off the weight a little bit, and then building the muscle mass that's needed. The second trainer had background in strongman. And he said, you know what, I hate to tell you this, but you're going to have to eat more. You're going to have to eat lots of calories, because you're going to need it, And, I said, okay, he says, he was like, sometimes that's the best part about it, but you also have to be mindful of keeping up your routine with those four movements and adding something different, working out your wrist, weightlifting and doing interval training, and all the time keeping up a certain amount of calories. This is not for people that's dieting. You actually have to really eat, and that's, and I said, well, darn, I guess but I actually picked that particular sport because you're not, you're not, you're definitely not, calorie restricted. And it was a way for me to, to challenge myself, because normally we're always challenged with something. And if you're able to challenge yourself and beat your own perceptions, and beat your own perceptions of what you can and cannot do, it's a way to, really push yourself. And, I signed up with strongman, with Powerlifting USA. They have different weight classes. They have the heavyweight, they have the lightweight, and somewhere in the middle. And I knew, I said, no, I need to go with the heavyweight. Go with the heavyweight because and it goes by your weight, how much you weigh and how much, and then they and in order to qualify, you have to lift a certain range in order to be admitted into the Powerlifting USA competitive teams and so forth. And it's the ball does not fall too far from the tree, I guess, or the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, because I actually have an aunt who's actually 56 years old, and she powerlifts as well. So it kind of took me off guard, because she happened to kind of go to my my IG page, and she explained, she goes, "Hey, I'm proud of you. Your journey has been very encouraging. And, even though you started, she was like, I started late, you started late." And she's playing, she powerlifts too. And I went to her page, and like, oh my goodness, you do at 56. I say, so, it's definitely, there's no limit, as long as your doctor gives you the okay, and that your body checks out, that you can handle a certain amount of training. Then that's the only, and there's no limitations. You have people that are disabled that work out, and they're able to get strong and be fit and be healthy and live longer lives. And for me, it was not just only to challenge myself, but to also lower my because we have diabetes in our family. We also have sticky blood cells in our family. So I had a bit of a scare a couple of times. So it really, kind of pushed me into, into doing powerlifting and other sports. So, so that's how I kind of started out.
Okay, well, tell us about your podcast. I know you talked about having a podcast. Tell us about your podcast and your book, and what readers and listeners can expect when they listen to and read them, where they can hear them and pick them up at.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's the podcast, actually had two different podcasts, but my main podcast is radio and TV entertainment, AM FM podcast show. I know that's a mouthful, but I wanted to kind of encompass, what people are going to be listening into. So basically when they listen into the show, they're listening into other people's journey. It's a learning experience. And I mean, our slogan is, the insiders to the entertainment business, industry. So, we want to be the insiders to it. So we bring on guests to, every Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to listen to different guests that we have on the show. And they're just regular people that really enjoy, the artistic experience of music, of of music, of all cultures, and those who are singer-songwriters, those who are independent filmmakers. Sometimes we even have, legendary filmmakers come in. Um, we've had Paul Curiosity come in. He had the opportunity to direct Adam West, the late Adam West, which was the first Batman, and then himself, Paul Curiosity, he wrote the book called Living the James Bond Lifestyle, which is a very interesting read. He also directs ebooks as well, audio ebooks, and very good. From he hooks you from the very start to the very end. I didn't know that audiobooks could be directed, but apparently so. And especially we have a good direction where you want to go, and so we've had Bruce Nahan on the show. He just finished his film called, his film, a documentary film of him being one of the co-founders of Chippendales. And very interesting, but he's also a retired entertainment lawyer. He loves to mentor independent filmmakers and actors and directors. He said it himself on the show that, that is his passion. He's a retired entertainment lawyer. He's part of the PGA, and it just fascinates me how much how much you can really learn sitting down and just having a conversation, before listeners about things, and how much you can learn, from other people's experiences in any given industry. And we had Tanya Peekins on the show. She had a very interesting past, and she has a very interesting film called Red Pill. She also wrote a book about the Red Pill as well. Very interesting read as well, I must say. And the film she independently filmed that particular movie called Red Pill, and I had the opportunity to watch the pre-screening, and it was well done. Her past is that she actually has a law degree. She had attained a law degree to win back her children, during a divorce battle. And it's just fascinating. She was accepted to all of her top choice chosen colleges, and she gave up the opportunity to go to Juilliard because it was in New York. Instead, I think she went to another Ivy League college in I think it's South Carolina. But I just really started the show because I really believe in the opportunity of, if you want to start out anywhere, I think podcasting is a beautiful way to start. If you love meeting other people, if you love hearing other people's stories, and where they, what caused them to get into a certain industry, how they, started out, and how they walked into their successes, or even just about, real life topics. And it's the way to, do just that without having to feel like you're governed, without feeling like you are having to, without feeling like you're limited in your creativity of topics, without feeling that you have limits, and have freedom of creativity. So that's what kind of where I started out with the show. We've created 110 episodes. We didn't start out, I started out on Anchor.fm before, they actually had the listenership, the paid listenership. This started to just record a show, without, really, having it, and I just thought having some direction on the show, having some way of promoting it, with a lot of really eye-catching graphic art designs, coming up with a show schedule, of each episode, or those who are going to be on the show, and looking for, and I found that, I had the most interactions of future guests coming from LinkedIn. And I said, okay, it's coming from LinkedIn, and I'll just I'll go with that, before I found out about, podcast guests, and which is a wonderful it's a wonderful way to find guests and be a guest as well. And I think I just thought of it as a way of just being able to talk about topics that either you want to talk about, or topics that are that people would like to hear about, for the audience that listens in, and so forth. And it's just a way to build a community, and not just for advertising, but really build a community. And that's why I fell in love with podcasting.
Well, tell us about any current or upcoming projects that you're working on that people need to know about.
Absolutely, Mr. Curtis. So there are a few upcoming guests that are going to be on the show. We are looking at Mrs. Berkner. She is Emmy nominated winner, actress and producer, and we're looking to have her May 11th on the show. She knew that we've moved from audio to video on YouTube. That's where our show lives now. Additional location that we live now. We do it through Riverside.fm. And as maybe people may know or not know, that Anchor.fm no longer goes by Anchor.fm. It now goes by podcasting with Spotify. So that's where our audio lives, and now they have incorporated not just audio now on that platform, but video as well. So they're really expanding, and we have other guests that have worked for CBS and NBC as writers and journalists. So we have a couple of those happening in June of 2023. We are we have a few, and we normally put out a schedule either a month in advance, just about like 1 month in advance, to give them a upcoming view of what shows. But we always conduct our shows every other Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we accept call-ins. We accept people to come into the chat as well. They can call in. We have a 1-800 number to our show, just in case anyone has topics, ideas that they'd like to be, ideas of topics that they would like to be discussed or on the show, or we send out links for those to click on to in order to join the podcast, join into the podcast, and so they're able to call in, through that link, or they're able to chat through that link as well. When we invite the audience, we usually let the audience, type into the chat or call in, around 10 o'clock, or so. Sometimes we've done it as early as 10, 10, because we started at 9:30. And we also have a 1-800 number, for those who would like to be on the show, which is 877 561-6551. They can call in, and they can just choose option 1, and give us a detailed, a message, or if we have those that, answer the call. They can text it. They can text us through that number, the 877-561-655 number. They can text to that number. We'll, our team will receive the text, and, we love hearing, what the audience thinks, because it's all about what they think and what they want. And, if you want to, request, they have a request for certain guests to be on the show, we will do everything we can to have that become a reality. Or if they want to be on the show, hey, they can call 877-561-6551 and leave us a message. or send us a text, or, we'll have, if the staff answers, they can speak they can speak to what they would like to, any ideas that they may have.
Okay, well, throw out your contact information so listeners can keep up with everything that you guys are up to.
Absolutely. So they can call, they can always call 877-561-6551, and they can choose option one, like, to, have any ideas or topics, or they want to be on the show, and we give them an outline of what we, what we ask for, like a headshot, selfie. We have graphic design artists that can, cultivate it, a 10-line bio, social media links and so forth, so that we really want to make sure that our guests are are the show. And we're kind of like a publicist. We kind of sit behind and we just ask questions. So, and they can choose option two if they would like to, book, if they want to come to Florida and do a live at one of the studio locations, with us, and we'll also, we'll build out that itinerary. Won't cost them anything at all. For the hotel stay, and a rent a car, to come pick them up, or we'll make arrangements for that with our platinum getaways, and usually it'll give them options of where they would of what company they want to reach. We're developing a staff agency as well. We haven't advertised it. We have a print and design company that we actually have had customers call, and we've helped out companies like Love Seats with giveaway, with their giveaway launch party. We did over 50 hats, 50 t-shirts, 50 white t-shirts, 50 black t-shirts, and things like that. So we had the experience of doing film posters for a studio out there in Texas, and their t-shirt designs and so forth. So we do have a team that handles that, and we also have a our nonprofit. If they have any questions about the intake process, and what things that we fulfill and so forth. So that number, the 877 number, 877-561-6551, they can reach any of us if they want to, that number accept texts, as well, voicemail, and they can call and so forth, and they can get in touch with anybody at that number. They can also find Master Prince, and they can also find me on on IG or on Facebook. We do have they can find me on Facebook, but my Facebook page is kind of private, just for those that, because we have over 1,000 connections in certain industries. But they can also find our different companies on Facebook. But however, if they would like to contact me on LinkedIn, that's open to anybody. They can DM me, they can text me, they can send me a DM, and they can always get in contact with me. I'm always there to assist anyone that needs, that would like to do a free consultation, about what they like to do, or how to get started with their company, in the industry, or they would like to get connected with the mentor, anything to that nature. They can always, or they just want to be on the show. They can find me on LinkedIn. It's public, and so forth. And so LinkedIn, Instagram, also Twitter is under radio TV talent, talent one, and that's our handle. LinkedIn is just Yolanda Nollie. That's my government name. They go by that. On Facebook, they can reach out to the podcast show on Facebook, or even the the travel and tourism company Platinum Entertainment Getaways on Instagram as well. Also the nonprofits on Instagram and Facebook as well. So and Singer-songwriter is on Facebook as well as Instagram. So those are my handles, and it's Singer-songwriter Yolanda Nollie on Instagram, and also on Facebook, Master Entertainment workshops. That's also on Facebook, and Platinum Entertainment Getaways is on Facebook as well. And yeah, that's and also those companies are on LinkedIn as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I told you she was an amazing person, Yolanda Nollie. Please be sure to follow, rate, review, share this episode to as many people as possible. Keep up with everything that she's up to. Check out her podcast, get her book. And if you have any guests or suggestion topics, cjackson102 at cox.net is the place to send them. Please tell a friend about the show. And as always, thank you for listening. Yolanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Mr. Jackson. I look forward to looking at many of your episodes as well.
For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.